Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another webinar from Net at Work. Today, the topic at hand is how to integrate Sage 300 with Microsoft Office. And so we're going to go through a bunch of touch points between the two. I'm happy to have with me Susie Gauss. She's one of our senior consultants here with Net at Work and really a data guru and knows the Sage 300 product really, really well. So I'm excited to have her with us today. My name is Sean Fleming. I'm a senior solution engineer here with Net at Work and focused primarily on Sage 300. So a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording today's call, and the presentation will last probably about 45 minutes, depending on the number of questions that we get into. The phone lines are muted, and so if you've got any questions, feel free to enter them into the question panel within your GoToWebinar panel on the side of your screen. So with that, let's go ahead and pull this up. So our goal with everything that we do is to unleash the potential of your business through the transformative power of technology. And so we're going to focus obviously on integrating Sage 300 with the Office products. So you can see that we represent not only Sage, but a whole bunch of other vendors. But at the end of the day, it's all about connecting these different disparate challenges that businesses face. So whether you've got an e-commerce problem, whether you need to pull inventory out and push it up to your e-commerce engine, whether you need to connect payment processing or CRM, or any of these blue spheres, we're going to talk a little bit about BI and analytics and how people are doing it today. What are your options to pull data out? So that'll kind of play in today as well. So with that being said, if you've got questions in any of these areas, reach out to me, reach out to Susie, reach out to your account manager. We're here to help you solve these challenges. So with that, I always start these with a quick poll. So today is no different, and it's a very simple poll today, and I think I'm probably in a high probability of yeses today. But let's see. Let's see if there's other people that are not doing it. So do you currently export data out of Sage and open it with Excel? So let's see what the responses are. I think it probably is going to be a resounding yes, but hey, I'm always surprised sometimes with these polls. So I'll let everybody finish that up. Oh, I got a no in there. I got a no. So we've got at least one person that doesn't know.
Or does it differently.
Yeah, does it differently. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. So it was 86% yes and 14% no after we went through that poll. So let's go through that. So at this point, what I want to do is quickly touch on what we're going to cover. So Susie's going to take us through how to configure your email in Sage 300 so that it can fire off emails automatically, what's needed to be done for the email setup and where the touch points are within the customer record or the vendor record. She'll give you some examples of some things to email. We'll look at exporting data from Sage 300, from the desktop, from the web screens, from the different BI tools that are there. And then we'll look at some mail merge functionality using ODBC functionality, pulling it directly from the SQL tables into the Office products. And last but not least, that's not on this agenda that I wanted to address right here. One of the agenda items we wanted to cover today was really the integration with Office 365. And one of the things that Sage launched, probably about 9 months ago, maybe even almost a year ago, is something called Sage Contact. And it is good in concept, but I will tell you, we've spent, Susie and I have spent the last several days trying to get it to work effectively so that we could roll it out to the masses. And there's just a number of challenges that Sage needs to overcome. And once they have overcome that and we feel comfortable that it's not going to cause harm to you or create more complexity than it needs to within your organizations, we will then have a follow-up webinar and release that back out to everybody that's interested. So you know, the concept is cool. The execution right now of it is not, I guess, to our standards. So we're going to hold off on that before we release that to everybody. So with that, I want to go ahead and take a live look at this. And Susie, I'm going to go ahead and come out of this and get into my web server, which is here, and then I'll give you control back. So let me actually pull this down. As you. Got a couple things going here, and then I will give you control here. So let's go ahead and do that, and you have control.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Susie Gauss. I'm with Network for 3 years now, a little bit over 3 years. Love my job, love working with clients, and like doing Sage 300 stuff. I'm mostly in the Sage BI world and more in the operations modules. So if you have any bank rec questions, that would not be me. I'm not the I would be not the person you would ask. So first, in order to email anything out of Sage 300 that has an integration point to the email, you will have to set up the incoming services in the company profile, the email tab, and fill in this information in order to email invoices, statements, or order confirmations. So we can test that real quick. And depending on what kind of client you have, this one is a Gmail client. This will look different if you have an Office 365 client. So if you need help setting this up, please reach out and we will be able to help with this information once we have the your server name. So if you pass this this screen, you're good to go to send out invoices, statements, order confirmations from within Sage 300. So what I want to do, I want to save this. I want to go to accounts receivable into the customer reports, and we have statements and letters in here that you can send out. Here is where you determine how you send out the statements. If you have the print destination, it will print out to and I will only do custom number 1200, I think is Ronald Black. So if I print this, it will print to preview because this is what I have selected right now. And yeah, AR statement, that's the statement. So this is what the statement will look like. So if I decide to email this statement out, what I will do is close that. No. So I'm going back to accounts customers, and I will send look at the OneNote, and this one has multiple contexts. So what that means is there's an add-on for Sage 300 that allows you to have multiple contacts attached to a customer. As you see, Sean has contact code MRR001, an email set up that will allow him to send out AR invoices, AR receipts, AR statements, order confirmations, or order invoices, and credit notes and quotes. But the contact code RB100, Ronald Black at 300gmail.com, only will receive AR invoices or order confirmation. So if I send out these statements to 1200, it will go to S. Fleming at Network and not to Ronald Black Gmail. So
Go ahead and turn that on if you like. You can go ahead and just turn on AR statements if you want to.
okay.
Check the X.
All right.
Sure.
So, all right,
Save it.
we can
There we
save
go.
it. Now, if I close that and, oh, what is it doing? Okay.
Updating CRM.
Oh, yeah, CRM. At this moment, we do not recommend having multiple contacts and CRM are running, but that's a topic for another another story. So what I want to do is run this statement again. Customer. This here is an email template that is used, and you have a couple of placeholders that you can use. Your customer contact, that will be, in this case, Ronald Black, and this is the cutoff date, the company phone number that's in the AR customer, and the company contact. So, but you can create multiple. So if you need something else to say on the company statement, maybe you want to have one for national accounts. So this is a statement for all your companies. You could do that. So if I print this now,
You go ahead, but yes, I'll pick it up and I'll pick up the email if you like. So here,
that
let me
would
go
be
ahead and
good.
pick up the email. Give me just a second. I'll pick up the email over here on my other screen. So let's change that to Ronald Black. Pull that over here. Look at Ronald Black's email. And if all goes well, we should see the statement. There's the statement that's there.
That's the statement that we just turned on. Dear Mr. Black, that was the placeholder. And this is the, so as long as you have that set up, the company email, you can email out of those. Let's go back to the customer real quick. That helps remember those. Sorry, AR customer. You can email AR invoices, receipts, statements, order confirmations, order invoices, credit notes, and quotes. So that will be automatically if you switch in the ship information. So if we go to an invoice in order entry, OE forms, and go to order invoice, we look for an invoice for customer number 1200. All right, there are several. So let's take this one and this one. If you change this to the delivery method customer, it gives you the prompt for a default template to email, and you can hit print, make sure this one, and you will get an invoice sent to the customer. Sometimes you have, did it finish or not?
It does.
Okay, sorry. Let's wait.
So at that point, you should be able to close it once it's printed. It doesn't give you a notification. It does give you a notification on the web screen if you did the same thing. That's the one thing that's nicer about the web screen.
Yeah. So, okay. Say you wanna look at your inventory report on a monthly basis, and you wanna keep every month you wanna keep a record of your inventory valuation. You could run an inventory valuation by cost and run this to preview. as you can see, there's no options to email right here. We can print, and that's it. So we can print this information, and here we can export. We can export it to a PDF, and if you say email, it should prompt, if you have Office 365 installed, to a client. But let's see.
Not sure I've got email on here, so.
Okay. It would come up with this information. Send it to scouse@netatwork.com. And I could say this is the IC valuation. Oh, 06/2020. And I just say send. I might not send. All right. It would send a PDF like that. All right. We can close that. So now I want to go through the export functionality, the out of the box from Sage. Now we'll keep it quick because most people know about that. So we do vendors. I can do a file export, and I say what type. We can, the vendor or the vendor statistics or comments. Most likely you want vendor. You can then say you have the option of various export options. Most likely you would use the 2007 vendor, and I don't want this or this. I just want vendor, vendor name, address, city, state, zip, and I can say okay, and then it will export this information. So if I go to Excel, open file, desktop, I think I put it, browse.
I think it's under sample reports.
Sample reports?
Documents, sample reports. There it is.
So I have here, and I have a nice looking customer list. So if I want to use this data now to just do a quick pivot, I can just pivot table. I pivot all that in a new worksheet. And what I might want to see, see is I want to know how many I have, and I want to count the vendor. So I have a chart, a quick pivot that tells me that I have 13 customers in California, 2 in Alaska, Colorado, Florida, so on and so forth. So that's a quick way of slicing and dicing using Excel and Sage data. So this is how we export from Sage 300 from the desktop, the classic desktop version. So most of the time, if you open, depending on your security, you can do a file export or import. So, and like we said, you have various options. You can export in a CSV, Excel, CSV file, text file, Excel 2000 or 2007. So if you look at the Sage 300 web screens, okay, sign in. So this comes with your Sage 300 subscription. You can have the web screen. version of Sage 300. So this is the web screen version of Sage 300. It allows you to have widgets. It shows you right off the box inventory performance. So this is a nice feature of the Sage 300 web screens. So if I go into accounts receivable and go into customers, I have the same options here. I can export as well. It lets you export the same stuff. We had vendors earlier. Now I do customers. So I can do that. It lets you filter, say, if you want only, it lets you preview your filter. That's very nice. So if I want to filter by customer at like, and I think it's S star. Okay, let's preview. Let's do filter system.
Might be able to do a mister in there. You'll get a few of them.
Okay, then you will see that you will export for customers. So I can say export, and I download it. And Sean, you're right. This time I can see it might go. So if I go here, download. Where did it go? Sorry, I closed out Chrome. Sorry, I have to do that again. And I don't do.
Sorry, Susie.
Yep. Just want to make this a little bit smaller, so maybe I see where it goes. I know it's hard to see. I do the download.
And just so everybody knows what the challenge is here, GoToWebinar is cutting off part of the screen, and so it's making it hard for Susie to see where it actually downloads the file. So normally it's going to just download the file. That's actually my local drive, Susie, so you might even find it there.
Okay.
So we'll have to kind of walk through that one versus showing it, but basically it opens it up.
Right, it should download the drive. That's your local drive again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not here. Let me double check one more time. Something.
That's my local drive as well.
This one too?
No, that is local.
That's local.
Sorry, that's server.
Okay. Did you log in as Fleming?
I did.
Okay. Let's see. Download. Still not downloading in the downloads folder, so I don't know exactly where it went. Yeah, I cannot see where it downloads to. I apologize for that. That's the classic version of exporting. So if I go in the web screens, we have some inquiries that you can also export. So one of the nice things in the web screens, you can, like, for example, look at your inventory items and you will get a grid of your items, description, the account set, the category, the quantity on hand, standard cost, and so on and so forth. And you have the option to export it out to Excel as well. So, and I will have the same issue. I cannot see where it went. Let me do one thing quick. I want to just see if it makes a difference if I do the IE. Maybe that's a little bit nicer to me. Nope, it's the webinar, so I apologize. All right, that's with the web screens you can export. So we learned how to export from the classic, from the web screens, and if you want to export from, if you have you want to export your general ledger transaction listing, it's kind of hard because if you look at the classic desktop screens, I would have to go to the GL batch listing, and there is really not an export. You would have to go open a batch and do a file export. So that's a little bit tedious if you have multiple batches you want to export. So another way to export your data from Sage 300 into an Excel file would be using your intelligence reporting. If you just have the reporting and not the connector, you are limited on what you can export. If you have the connector, the world will open up to all kinds of craziness you can do. I want to just show you the options if you don't have the connector and you want to export the general ledger transaction listing. You can go to, say I go new reports, I go home, I add a report, a standard report, and I want to call this GL test. And in here, I know I want to do the GL. Here, as you can see, I'm limited to whatever Sage reports I have downloaded. There was another webinar on, I think, reporting and how you can download standard reports from.
Yeah, okay. There was, yes.
Okay, so there is a container called GL transactions. So here I can select. The descriptions are not always nice, but I want the account number, the account description. I want the batch number. I want the control detail number. Maybe the company, if I have multi-company. I want the date, the debit, and the credit, and maybe the description. I say okay, and I don't have any prompts or whatever, so it will export everything. So if I hit run, in this case, it's not a big deal because it's a small company. It will export this out into a nice looking Excel sheet. This one, and as you can see, I have the account number, the description, what batch number, the detail number, coming from company, a credit, debit, the date, and the description. So now I can save that and do whatever I want to. So that's the classic option.
Susie,
Yep.
do me a favor, click on the Excel button that you just clicked on. All those reports that you downloaded, I think, are available in the button. Don't close that.
Okay.
Here, I'll take control.
Okay, I know.
They're all here.
Oh,
So all
okay.
of our exports that we were playing with. Here's your vendor list. They're all here. So that's where they end up going.
All right. Okay. So we don't need that. We can close that. So this is a way to export data out of Sage using the standard function. I want to go a little bit deeper and show you how you can export using direct connections to your SQL Server. In order to do that, you will need to have the SQL password or enough rights to access your SQL Server. We allow read only. We would not write back to anything, but back to Sage like that. But what we can do here is we can export from our SQL Server that stores our Sage 300 data. We can go here, and I happen to know the password and username. So I would go to the database I want to export from. In this case, it's our SAM Inc. And Sean is very busy, as you can see. He has a lot of databases. And here now, I connect to a specific or can do multiple. So in this case, I want to. I said I want to inventory. Actually, I can do it the AR customer real quick. First. I have this, say next. I can finish, and this will import all the data into my that's out on Sage 300 in my Excel sheet. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that has been exported, and that's just in the master file. Now I can take this again. I can create insert pivot table, use that and say new worksheet, and I can say, okay, I want to know ID group and how many customers I have in there, and maybe like the amount balance due. And if I look at this, where's my so now I know the account group wholesale has $21,172 amount due, retail, so on and so forth. So that's just a quick pivot table on top of Excel. Now I have to switch to my workstation. I wanted to look at the option of creating a mail merge using Word and the same method. So I can, do you still see my screen or not?
We're still seeing the server at this point. So
Okay, let me close this. I need to. Okay.
Here, I'll make you the presenter.
I make myself presenter. Show
Yeah,
my
there you go.
screen. So I'm bringing in, well, new blank document here, and I can say, dear customer, we are in the process to review our sales tax exemption certificate. Please review and send. Okay. All right. So I want to send this out to all my customers. Insert. I will do. I do a start a mail merge, a letter. I do use an existing. I say new source. I know the SQL Server. And in this case, it's the same Inc. All right. I want to look at the AR customer here. Next. Finish. Yes, I want to replace this one. I can insert a mail merge. So I can say, dear customer, dear mail merge. Let's see what I have contact somewhere. Um, this would be the contact. So, okay, and I can insert the company name, name cost, insert street, comma, insert name city, comma. Oh, sorry. Okay. I don't need that. I need I don't need. I need comma, state, zip code. If I look preview, okay, okay, why did
That's the risk of doing this live, right? Everything
That's
that
right.
could go wrong might.
Goes right. Yeah. Let's see, edit receipt list. Oh, okay. Let me use a different database real quick. Use, I think, new source. Next, TSLT 0294. Sorry. I should have used the
LTD.
LTD. Okay, and I need AR customer. Sorry. Finish. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. Now I have customer, and it's refreshed with their data. So now I can say I can edit the receipt list, and I can say I want, there's no active ones, but I can say maybe I want only the ones I have flagged as text exempt right now. So that should be text group, some, I want non-blanks. I want to send that only to them, so they give me an updated text certificate. So that's in a nutshell how you can export and use Office with Sage 300.
Before you pass it back, it'd be a good time, if you've got any questions and you need her to review or just quickly walk through a step, that would be a good time to ask the question. If there's anything that needs clarity there, now would be a good time to put in the question box. Because once I take it back from her, then we're not going to go back to the servers. The one thing that I would encourage that we weren't able to kind of work, I'm going to just quickly try to go back, Susie, and see if I can't take make me the presenter here and show my screen here. That's fine. In here, if I do the F11, I'm going to just try it one more time out of the export, and which is odd because normally it just dumps that thing right there. So there's something new that's obviously changed, but that's pretty slick when you do the export. One of the things that I like about the export out of the web screens versus the traditional desktop is they come out with nice, neat rows and columns, which is if you did an export sometimes from Crystal, it's not as clean. You got to do some cleanup before you actually can do a pivot on that data. So it brings it cleaner in the web screens typically than it does in the traditional desktop. So with that, I think I've stalled long enough to allow people to plug in a question if they had it. Let me go back to my PowerPoint and just kind of wrap some things up. So here's my question queue. If you've got any questions after the session, by all means, reach out to me. My email address is here. That's my direct line. Reach out to your account manager. Connect with us on any of the social media components. We're here to help you and make your life easier through the empowerment of using technology. So hopefully you learned a trick or two today. I know I actually learned a couple things on the SQL side that didn't know you could do. So there's always something that you're going to learn. As long as you've been doing this, there's always something you can learn from a different perspective. So I wanted to thank Susie for spending the time with us today. And I learned a couple of things from her as well. So thank you, Susie. And until next time, we'll have more webinars coming up next week. We've got a great one on SEI, Sage Enterprise Intelligence, next week. So if you want to learn more about reporting and BI tools and taking that reporting to that next level, next week's session is going to be a great session for that. So that being said, I will sign off for today. Again, thank you, Susie, and we'll see everybody on the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.